How old are you, Annie?
5.
You're 5 years old. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to hand you an object, and I want you to tell me if you think it's going to sink or float. Okay? Now here's a piece of wood. Now don't put it in the water, but you can hold it. Do you think that's going to float, or do you think it's going to sink to the bottom?
I think it's
You think it's going to sink? Why do you think it's going to sink?
because it's kind of tough.
It's kind of heavy. Okay, why don't you try it? Go ahead and put it in the water. It floats. Why do you think it floats? Because it's light? But you thought it was going to sink because it was heavy. We can make it sink, but what happens when we let go of it? It comes back to the top. Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think it floats? It's a tiny bit light, so it floats. Okay, let's try. Now this time I'm going to give you 2 objects. Okay, we have a shell from the ocean. We have a plastic knife. Now do you think the shell is going to float or sink?
I think it's going
You think it's going to sink? Okay, what about the knife? Do you think the knife's going to float or sink? Think it's going to float? Okay, I'll let you try it. The shell sinks. That's what you said. Okay, let's see about the knife. The knife sinks too. Now why do you think the knife sinks? You thought it's plastic, so it sinks. Now you thought it was going to float. Why do you think it doesn't float?
Because plastic.
Plastic sinks, huh? Why does plastic sink? It can't stay on the top of the water, so it sinks to the bottom. Okay. What about this shell? We saw that it can sink to the bottom like that. Okay, now watch this. Now it's floating. Okay, but how come it sinks sometimes and sometimes it floats? So if you put it on very carefully, it doesn't sink? What if we put the knife on the water very carefully? This water is cold. It still sinks. How come it's not like the shell and stays on the top if we put it on delicately?
Because it's too delicate.
It's too delicate? The knife is too delicate, and so it sinks to the bottom. Okay, well let's try 2 more. This time we're going to have a piece of string and a cork. Do you know what a cork is? What's a cork?
It's a top for a bottle of wine.
For a bottle of wine. Very good, it is. And this is just a regular piece of yarn, a piece of string. Now, do you think the cork is going to sink or swim?
I think it's going to
Sink? Okay. It floats. Why do you think it floats?
because it's wood.
Because it's wood, and wood always floats? Okay, but you thought it was going to sink. Why did you think it was going to sink?
I don't know.
And then you just thought it was. Okay, how about the string? Do you think the string's going to float or sink?
I think it's going to
Sink? Okay, you can try it. It sinks. Very slowly, though, huh? How come it sinks so slowly?
because
It's yarn, and yarn always sinks slowly, huh? Okay, now tell me why. This is a rock. Do you think the rock is going to sink or swim?
I think it's
Why do you think it's going to sink? Because it's heavy. Okay, let's see. It sinks. Okay. Now, which do you think is going to hit the bottom first? The yarn or the rock? Because we saw that they both sunk, right? They both sink in the water. The rock? Oops. Let's try that again. You're right. The yarn sure takes a long time.
Could I do another painting?
Sure, as soon as Monica comes out to help you.
But Monica's going to reach the bottom. I know how to
Sure is.
do
It
it.
has gold in
I've
it.
done it
hold them and you tell me which one's heavier, okay? That one's heavier. Okay, do you think that this piece of wood is going to sink or float? Sink? What about this one? It's going to float. We already tried this one. We know it floats, okay? I'll let you try. That floats unless we push it down, but then what happens when we let go? It pops back up. That's pretty funny, huh? Why do you suppose they both float when they're both, one's heavier than the other?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Well, thank you very much, Annie, for helping me with my experiment.
I want to do it here.
Okay, can you tell me what your name is, please? Your name is Michael. And how old are you, Michael? 5.5. Ooh, you're almost as old as I am. Okay, Michael, I'm going to give you...
Not even close.
Not even close. Patrick, could you stand over there, please? I'm going to hand you two objects, and I want you to tell me if they're going to float or sink. Okay? But first I have a tennis ball. I have a rock. The tennis ball is going to float. Why do you think it's going to float?
Because I've been in a pool once, and I put it in the ball.
A ball floats. Why do you suppose a ball floats? You're not sure? Okay, how about the rock? It's going to sink. Why is the rock going to sink? It's heavier than the ball, so it's going to sink. Okay, I'll let you try them. It does sink. And the ball floats. Okay, let's try a couple others. Now we saw that heavy things like the rock sink. Okay, so we know the rock's going to sink. This is a plastic knife. What do you think the plastic knife's going to do? You think it's going to float? Okay, you try. It sinks. Both of them sink. Why does the plastic knife sink? Because why? Because it weighs, but it's not as heavy as the rock. That's kind of funny, huh? Okay, let's try. So we saw that the rock always sinks, and the knife floats. Okay, tell me which object is heavier. Okay, what do you think the piece of wood is going to do? Is it going to float or is it going to sink? It's going to float, but it's heavier than the knife. It does float. But how come, if it's heavier than the knife, how come it floats? Don't know? Does all wood float?
No.
No, not all wood floats? Okay, let's try these two pieces. Do you think they're both going to sink? Or do you think they're going to float? Okay, why is that one going to sink? It's heavier. Patrick, could you stand over there, please? Thank you. Okay. It's heavier, you think? They both float. And we thought this one was going to sink. What about if we put this one in there?
Both, maybe?
It'll float. Wow, they all float. So do you think all wood floats? All wood floats. Why does all wood float and rocks sink? Wood's heavier, but it pulls up gravity. Okay, well, thank you for helping me with my experiment, Michael. Okay, can you tell me what your name is? Patrick, and how old are you, Patrick? You're 6. Could you roll your sleeves up for me so they don't get wet, please? Thank you. Okay, now you did this yesterday, so you kind of know what's going on. Now I'm going to hand you two objects, and I want you to tell me if they're going to sink or swim or float, okay? But first I have the string. Do you think the string's going to float on top of the water, or do you think it's going to sink to the bottom?
I think it's going to sink to the
Why do you think it's going to sink to the bottom? Because it's light. So light things sink to the bottom. Okay, well why is it going to sink? If it's real light, why is it going to sink? It doesn't have enough weight on it, so it's going to sink. Okay, how about the cork? That's going to float. Why is that going to float? They're about the same weight. The cork is a little bit heavier than the string, and that's why it's going to float. Okay, why don't we try it? The cork floats, and the string sinks. That's okay. We're testing again. We're going to see if he really remembers. Okay, let's try the next two objects. The list, so don't count. Okay, Patrick, here's a tennis ball. Do you think that's going to float or sink?
No.
Float. Why is the tennis ball going to float? Because? Just because. Okay. You try the tennis ball. It floats, all right. Now, what about the shell? Did you have the shell yesterday? Oh, you had this one yesterday, so you know. You're right. Sometimes it sinks, and sometimes, let's see if you can make it float. Up, it sunk that time. Okay, watch how I do it. Now, why does it float when it's up like that? Circle. And I have a very special chapter to read to you guys in here, and I'm going to do it a very special way, okay? Okay? Excuse me, but I'm going to be reading, so I'm going to play here, okay? So I'll need you gentlemen to move over to one side or the other. Thank you very much. Please move over. Thank you very much. I'm going to read the story a very special way today. You know what? I did forget something, and I snuck this in, and no one saw it, okay? There's a video camera in the room. So if you guys want to all stand up and look at the video camera there, and move over a little bit so you can get on the camera and wave hi. You start first, okay? Okay. Hunter, go stand up and do the video. Okay, come sit back down, please. Okay, sit all the way down, please. I saw that. Okay, are we ready for the story? Okay, Blake, Aaron, are y'all ready? Now I'm going to read the story a very special way today, okay? I'm with the camera, that's one way, but I'm also going to read it talking in a funny voice, okay? And you tell me what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk like a cowboy, okay? Here we go. We're still reading My Father's Dragon, and we're on chapter number 4. Not yet, I haven't started reading the story yet. Okay? Blake, are you going to be able to sit there and be quiet? Okay. Okay, chapter number 4. My Father Finds the River is the title, okay? And I'll show you the picture. Okay. The jungle began just beyond a narrow strip of beach. Thick, dark, damp, scared jungle. My father hardly knew where to go, so we crawled under a wahoo, pushed a thing, and ate 8 tangerines. The first thing to do, he decided, was to find the river, because the dragon was tied somewhere along its bank. Then he thought, if the river flows into the ocean,
I ought to be able to find it quite easily if I just walk along the beach far enough. So my father walked until the sun rose, and he was quite far from the ocean rocks. It was dangerous to stay near them because they might be guarded in the daytime. He found a clump of tall grass and sat down. Then he took off his rubber boots and ate 3 more tangerines. Can y'all see those? A little. It looks like a little rat, huh?
Is it a cat?
No, we'll find out. He could have eaten 12, but he hadn't seen any tangerines on this island, and he could not risk running out of something to eat. If you don't want to listen to the story, you can go over to the book thing. My father slept all that day and only woke up late in the afternoon when he heard a funny little voice saying, "Queer, queer, what a dear old little dog." I mean, dear, dear, what a queer little rock. My father saw a teeny paw rubbing itself on his knapsack. He lay very still, and the mouse, for it was a mouse, hurried away, muttering it to itself. "I must smell Tom Duddy. I must smell somebody." He's speaking backwards, isn't he? He said, "I must smell Tom Duddy" instead of somebody. Does anyone here talk like that? My father waited a few minutes, and then he started down the beach. Could you please put that back? Please put that back. My father waited a few minutes and then started down the beach. And because it was almost dark now, and he was afraid the mouse really would tell somebody, the mouse. He walked all night, and 2 scary things happened.
Really?
First, Andrew, I'm going to take that from you if you don't get this. First, I'll show you if there's another picture comes up. First, he had just had to sneeze, so he did, and somebody close by said, "Is that you, monkey?" My father said, "Yes." Then the voice said, "You must have something on your back, monkey." And my father said, "Yes," because he did. He had his knapsack on his back. "What do you have on your back, monkey?" said the voice. My father didn't know what to say, because what would a monkey have on his back? And now, would it sound and how would it sound telling someone about it if it did have something? Just then another voice said, "I bet you're taking your sick grandma to the doctor." My father said, "Yes, Andrew." I'll see you later. Yes, and hurried on. Quite by accident, he found out later that he had been talking to a pair of tortoises. Who knows what tortoises are?
They're these kind of turtles, only they have a different name.
They're very much like a turtle.
Except they don't
Okay.
swim and they're all dry.
The second thing that happened was he nearly walked right between 2 wild boars. What's a wild boar? Oh. Yes. A wild boar? I'm sorry. Good, that's a good reason to come doing that. Back in here, please. Andrew's supposed to be reading a book, but he's going to be over there by a sick girl. He might get sick too. Okay. Oh, we were just trying to find out what is a wild boar? Huh? Okay. do I have?
Three.
How did you figure that out?
Because I was wondering how many white ones.
2. Okay. Can we look at these and tell me how many brown ones I just took?
One.
What do you have on your nose?
Chocolate.
Chocolate? Is that part of your costume from last night? You were a chocolate person? No? Okay. Let's try to. Can you tell me at least which is the tallest stick, and we'll put the tallest stick in there. Okay, we're checking the bottom, seeing that the bottom's nice and straight. What is that going to do? If we make sure the bottom's nice and straight, I've seen you do that before. What does that do? That's the tallest. How do we know that's the tallest?
Because I put it right here and
You made the bottom nice and straight. Okay. Oh, okay. Where can this one fit in with our other ones, do you think? It won't fit in over here? How come? Okay, which side does it fit in? Right there. Okay. And see, you wanted me to help you, and you did exactly. Okay, great, Michael. Thank you very much. Can you think of anything? Did I forget anything? Do you think I forgot anything?
No.
Yeah, I didn't forget anything? I must be just wonderful at this, huh? Okay, you know what, Michael? I forgot to ask you, though, one thing. Same amount of dinosaurs as we have shells. Okay. Now, why did you put that one back?
So I could look at the right amount.
You could have the right amount. So how did you know that you had the right amount? I see that. So how did you know you had the right amount? You counted them?
No, I knew some time like 4 and then 3. So I put one back.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay, now what we want to do, why don't you go ahead and put your dinosaurs back in here, and your shells back in there. Okay, I want you to count out 9 red beans. On that piece of paper, I would like you to count out 6 shells, please, and place them right on the line. Oh, by the way, Patrick, how old are you? You're 5. When is your birthday? March.
Can I open this box? What do you think? Yeah,
Okay, 6. Okay, now I would like to have the same amount of dinosaurs on this piece of paper that I have of shells. Okay, I want the same amount of shells and dinosaurs. Patrick and I are playing right now, Mr. Connor. You're welcome to watch if you would like. You can take your seat right over there. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, how many dinosaurs do we have? And how many cells do we have? Six. Okay, so we have 6 shells. And how many dinosaurs? That you asked me, why do I always talk to all the teachers that come into the room? Do you remember what I told you that I didn't have to tell you?
No, I know, so you don't have to tell me.
Oh, okay, you know. Okay, can you tell me? Can you remind me, because I don't really remember.
Okay.
Okay, remind me. What was it? What was it that you said when you asked? What did I say?
He said because you're very pretty.
Because she was very pretty. You're right. You know what? Well, I wanted to tell you that really wasn't the reason. I really was just being silly. That she was really a friend of mine. And then, yeah. What did you think when I said that answer?
I thought that I was just being. I thought that you were just kidding around.
You thought I was just kidding around. Well, that's good. I was just kidding around because I don't just talk to pretty women. I talk to women that aren't very pretty also. And it really, that has nothing to do
Can I
with...
tell you something?
Sure, yes, you may.
I don't talk to my brother very often because I hate him.
Oh.
Do you know why I hate him?
Why?
I asked him to do something and that he once. Do you know what he did?
What did he do?
Once when we were building a craft for my dad, like he knocked down my toy, and when he did that, I stepped on something.
Oh, that's
And then I asked him to clean it up.
Did you? Sometimes I didn't always get along. I have 2 sisters and a brother, and I didn't get along all the time with them, but we're very good friends now.
Can I tell you something?
Yes, you may.
I bet